I said it before and I'll say it again.
That scene, that last scene.
What does it mean?
I'm the dude, you know?
Get the fuck out of here. No, I cannot. That final scene starts now.
Hello, and welcome to That Final Scene. My name is Sophie. I'm your co-host with my other two co-hosts,
Simon.
Ben and Simon.
Yes, hello. Say that again.
I was waiting for you to say hello. We are back after a full month of disappearing, thanks to me. How are you guys? I missed
Pretty
you.
good. I feel like I need to ask you loads of stuff about your lives and reconnect with you.
Honestly.
Refreshed and ready to podcast.
Reconnect is such a nice word.
It's quite like from the tech industry.
It's very buzzwordy.
I remember when I first started working.
Should we re-interface?
In fact, it wasn't a job interview. At the meeting I had to work at the company where I met Sophie, the guy who ran the company said in the meeting, "Can we take this offline?" And I thought he was joking, and I was like, and he meant it completely real.
Yeah. It's such a bullshit business.
Circle back, and circle back.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is the company for me.
Yeah. There's some synergy going on.
Yeah. Ooh. Nice.
Yeah, I've been good. I feel very refreshed.
You do look very glowy.
Yeah, I came back quite tanned. I was in Greece. I don't know if I said that in the last episode. I was in Crete.
She doesn't like to mention it.
Visiting the set of Glass Onion.
Yeah.
Sophie follows Rian Johnson around the globe. Everybody knows.
Oh.
Did we ever find out where it was shot in Greece?
No. I didn't enjoy the film enough to bother researching any of it.
That is a good point.
I did not enjoy that.
But yeah, it was interesting.
But Greece is nice.
Greece is nice. The sea is lovely. It was quite warm.
Nice.
Did you go in the sea?
Yeah.
A lot?
Once.
Oh, once.
Once. It was very cold.
You spent basically 3 weeks there and you went in the sea once.
Yes, it was very cold. I did sunbathe for a very long time and I just listened to a bunch of podcasts and read a bunch of books. But other than that, it was just Michael who just went nuts on like swimming But I feel like because I'm Greek, so I'm used to like higher temperatures naturally. It's just weird.
He just thought it was a treat.
Yeah.
UK,
I think he was like,
Scotland.
"Oh, this is heat wave weather."
Yeah. And sandy beaches. They used to like stony British beaches.
Yeah, exactly. But it's funny because I did try and I succeeded, but I guess I kind of cheated as well in sticking to my one movie a day.
That was going to be
challenge.
my question. Did you continue to watch movies a day?
I did. If you consider like comedy specials and like a bunch of documentaries being like films,
Are you
even though
stretching the terms of this arrangement?
I had to during the holidays. So it was like I didn't always have the time to sit back for a 2-hour film. So and I think that's what I was looking for as well. I need the break from movies in general, and not just movies, but like screen time.
Yeah, like short, lean.
It wasn't responding to people. Like I just really went like under the radar with this holiday, which was great. But I think dark. Yeah. But I just watched a bunch of documentaries and specials. Like I watched the Oprah Winfrey and Michelle Obama special, which was very inspiring.
You watched Icarus,
which
as well. You gave 4 stars. I have to say, I think Icarus is probably my favorite documentary ever because it goes from being an interesting documentary about doping and cycling to a real life spy novel. Like in the flip of a coin.
Wait, is this about Lance Armstrong?
No. So basically this journalist was like, I wonder how easy it is like to dope in cycling basically, and like, can I try and do that? I think was the premise of it, wasn't it? He was like, I'm going to do because you can do the Tour de France as like a regular person. I think it's like a couple of weeks before. And so he did it and he was like, right, I'm going to do it. And then I've gotten in touch with this Russian doctor who says he'll help me dope to see if I can improve myself for next year. And it's the guy, basically the doctor he gets in touch with is the guy who was in charge of the Russian doping program for years. And it delves deep into that. And then it turns into basically this whole spy thing of him trying to get this guy out of Russia. It stops being about doping. It's about this guy could be killed. And it's
the doping program guy.
Yeah. It's incredible. It's it's on Netflix. I would highly recommend watching.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah, I love that it's a type of documentary that takes a turn when not even the filmmaker expects it to go there. It's you've seen that a couple of times, but only a couple of times where they're even so surprised. But like, what the fuck is this going?
Mrs. Doubtfire is a great example of that.
Well, my other example of a fantastic documentary like that, where the filmmaker can't have known what was going to happen, is After the Screaming Stops, which is the Bros documentary.
Oh yeah,
which has so many curveball quotes in it.
Yeah.
You would not believe.
But that must have been like a dream. Like they just kept giving forth absolute. So
Sophie,
solid gold.
I messaged Sophie about this after seeing you talking about Icarus, and I said that, you know, I think Icarus is my favorite documentary apart from After the Screaming Stops, because it's a fantastic title for a documentary. Like, that is just brilliant. Yeah. And it's about Bros, who were this two brothers who were in, like, it was like a boy band duo, because it wasn't from the 90s. And then they disbanded. One of them went off to be a singer. Another went off to be an actor. And he is the guy who, you know, in Hellboy 2, the prince who's the villain, him. So he was the drummer in Bros, right? Nice. And it's basically just a documentary about them reforming and coming back together as two brothers. And it has so many bizarre quotes. Like, at one point, the younger brother says, completely serious and like deadpan to the camera, that after he heard Superstition by Stevie Wonder, that was the song that taught him not to be superstitious anymore. And from that day forward, he said, I'm not going to be superstitious about anything because I heard that song. And he's so serious. He's not joking. And you keep watching it thinking, it's got to be, surely, like, it gets to a point and this is like a mockumentary like Spinal Tap. It is not. It is a 100% serious documentary.
It's the same feeling that I got when I first watched The Office. When I first channel flicked, I landed on The Office and was like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
And that's what that film made me feel.
And the difference is, this is a documentary. It's not a mockumentary. It is real life, and it is incredible.
I'm dying to see this.
Yeah.
I will watch this
add it to your list for your movies to watch. It's fucking amazing.
The one quick plug that I wanted to give to, not the film, it's a mini series that I binge watched in a day, basically yesterday, I think it's a Monday, bank holiday weekend. Yeah. Have you guys heard of Jury Duty?
No.
Everyone talks about this series. It's like it's very The Office in terms of how it's shot, like mockumentary style almost. And the premise is, it basically chronicles the workings of an American jury trial.
Is it like real life, or is it like...
No, real. It's a documentary style. However, the focus is on this guy, this juror named Ronald, who thinks is part of an actual jury trial, but the entire trial is fake. So every single one of the jurors and the judges and like the staff is an actor.
So it's like a social experiment type thing.
What, he believes that?
He doesn't know it's fake. He thinks he's an actual juror in the trial.
Okay.
And everyone is an actor. All of it is improv, pretty much. And you basically go through, like, you take his lens in terms of, like, they put it together, like, so many challenges for him to go through, like, you know, to defend it. Like, it's just so many fascinating stuff. And it's just hilarious. Like, if you like watching, like, people's reactions and awkward, like, moments, that's a documentary for you.
Okay.
And the best part about it is that one of the jurors, actually alternate jurors, is James Marsden. He's actually...
Fuck off. No.
He's actually...
And the guy doesn't know who James Marsden... Not at one point he doesn't look at him and think...
No, he does. He's like, oh, dude, I know you from somewhere. And I'm like, yeah, I'm James Marsden. I'm from
so he's James Marsden being James Marsden on a jury. Oh, come on.
Because it's...
But celebrities can't be on juries. Isn't that the whole thing?
Of course they can. But that is part of the show. Like, the first episode is like paparazzis are outside the door. And James Marsden is like, that's my cue. I need to get out.
Sorry, guys. Yeah. Just coming from the set of fucking Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Sorry.
It is hilarious.
Wait, is that true? You can't have well-known people on jury?
No, I don't think you can.
You can, in theory, you can be called for, but then that person can make the case of, oh, I'm a distraction, and
if you're a person of like high regard or like well known, you
public,
like if you're a public figure, you can apply to be given. It's one of those things that you can get an exemption, I think, from jury duty for.
Yeah, and
have you guys
James
ever done it?
No,
never.
But James Marsden is so good at it. Like, the first episode is basically him saying, oh, I'm a distraction. And he hires paparazzis to fake, like, you know, how much of a distraction he actually, he gets that revealed. But it's just fascinating. And it's like 6 or 8 episodes. It's on Freevee, which is like the free Amazon service. I'm sure you've seen it on Amazon Prime. It's called Freevee.
Okay.
It used to be IMDb TV, and now it's Freevee, which is basically free but with ads. But it's just sensational, and everyone talks about it. Like, you guys, if you want a good laugh, like Office vibes, you need to watch this. Like, it's so good.
You lost me and then you got me back.
Yeah.
No, I am going to.
How many episodes is it?
Just, I think 7, 8.
Okay,
like,
perfect.
they're like half hour long, so
Oh,
they're like perfect. They're perfect.
Jesus.
You can watch it in a day.
Yeah,
It's just hilarious.
we basically watched the first series of Gavin and Stacey yesterday because it literally.
Have you never
is-
seen it?
No, I have. We're just rewatching it because
Yeah.
it's like 6 25-minute episodes. It's just
Brilliant.
perfect length television.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah, so good.
Yeah, it's like Fleabag. You can just keep dipping
Yeah,
back.
exactly.
into it.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
or you can do it in an afternoon. Like, perfect.
Anything exciting that you guys watched over the past couple of weeks?
I feel like I've watched quite a lot. So I John Wick 4. I saw.
Oh, you did. Okay.
Yeah, I saw John Wick 4, which I thought was good.
Oops.
Didn't think it was
That's
great.
good. What?
Yeah, I thought it was good.
Oops.
Dun,
Yeah.
dun, dun.
Yeah, well, it's funny because
Ben's gone all defensive.
well, it is good, but everybody was making out like it's one of the best movies ever. I think the first one's better because it's 2 hours and 45 minutes long. It is so long. It's really, really long.
Nicolas Cage.
No, Keanu Reeves.
Oh.
Yeah. Which actually, I wanted to see the new Nicolas Cage movie, Renfield, but I haven't had a chance to see it yet. And then after that, so I basically saw that on a Saturday or a Friday, and then I watched Bullet Train the next day because I was on like an action movie, which I really enjoyed. Bullet Train.
really
I thought
fun.
Bullet Train was great. Like after about 20 minutes, when I accepted the fact that okay, this American guy is going to do a Cockney accent for the whole film, and it is like once you get about 10 action movie tropes into it and realize, oh, hang on, this whole movie is just like action movie, kung fu movie kind of tropes. You're like, this is totally fine. I'm okay. I'm invested and I'm involved in it now. And I thought it was great. And
I think it checks every blockbuster.
Yeah.
It's checklist. Like it's just every
exactly.
Yeah.
And then been watching Homeland really randomly. Started watching.
Oh, I
binging
love that.
Homeland.
But it does
on
go
Netflix.
once it gets deep into some of the later series, it just loses.
So we've
its
just gotten to the
way.
end of season 3 and we're like, okay, I think we'll take a break now.
Snap
'cause
it off.
Yeah, it's it's getting a little bit too stupid at certain points. As I texted you guys the other week, I also watched Fifth Element because I was just Ellie was away for the weekend. She was back in Dublin, and I was just like chatting to a friend, and he randomly mentioned the Fifth Element while I was chatting to him on the phone. And I was like, that's what I'm going to watch tonight. I'm going to watch the Fifth Element, and it's fucking great. It's such a brilliant film, and yeah, Gary Oldman's hair, amazing. The wig work, as I always go back to, is fantastic, and Chris Tucker is it's so funny. I feel like this is the bit, Simon, in the editing where I want you to layer in. I'll get it for you. But Chris Tucker, just his like American space radio DJ shtick is so funny. Like he's so brilliant in it. And yeah, I just love that film. And there's so many, again, it's one of those movies that has so many like random cameos in it. Like, obviously Bruce Willis is the lead and it's Mila Jovovich and Chris Tucker, Gary Oldman, just so many different people. Luke Perry's in it. Luke Perry's in the opening titles. His name is in it, and he's in the movie for 5 minutes. He's at the start of the film for 5 minutes, and then he's gone, and
He
that's
was
it.
pretty relevant at the time. Maybe they weren't.
Yeah, I think that was it. And I didn't and like it's a Luke Besson film, and it's just so weird. And like the costumes in it are made by like some really, I can't remember who it was. And I remember thinking, fuck, that's a really just famous fashion designer. It's not like some costume designer. It was a genuinely famous fashion designer who did all the costumes for it because they're so weird and like neon and latex and just mad. And yeah, the CGI just hasn't aged well, but I still love it. It's so good.
That's so good.
What about you, say?
I just remembered then, I watched Arrival that you've talked about a lot.
Oh, wow. Arrival's
I
great, yeah.
I didn't really enjoy it very much.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought Arrival was great. It's on Netflix, isn't it?
I think it was, yeah. But I got the train to Leeds to see my sister and I watched Willow, the Warwick Davis,
like 80s
George
kind of,
Lucas fantasy film, because it's just like a nostalgic reminder of school.
Are you going to watch the series now?
Is there a series?
There's a Disney Plus series that they've just brought out with Warwick Davis back in it.
Maybe that's why it was in my head.
They've just
I was gonna say, how did that come to mind? Yeah, it was like,
It was just one of those films at school where when it was like a rainy day, for some reason that was the film.
Wheel in the TV on the trolley.
Yeah, with like the video box in the middle. And I really enjoyed it. I didn't know that George Lucas had written it and that it was like his kind of version of Lord of the Rings in a way. But have you guys seen it?
I've seen bits of it. I've never
I think
sat
you'd
through
really
the full
enjoy
thing.
it. It's nice. It's got Val Kilmer in it with his top off for most of it.
Lovely Val.
And then I had a bad Nicolas Cage experience and then a good one.
Okay.
I watched Face Off.
iconic.
But so bad it's good though.
I don't know.
You're getting the double whammy. It's him and Travolta. Come
Yeah.
on.
So 2 stars for that.
Interesting.
Then I
That's your
watched
Letterboxd review.
the unbearable weight of enormous talent.
The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Yeah, with Pedro Pascal.
Excellent. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Like it's so surprising. Like it was like a midweek like random film, and it was.
I need to.
really
I tried watching it on a flight, and then I just kind of stopped halfway through. I feel like I need to sit down and maybe devote some time to it and watch it. But he's like Nicolas Cage playing Nick Cage or something, isn't that what it is? Like,
Yeah, but
basically him.
it feels like it has the creativity of like a kids film, but it's for adults. It's just really fun, but it's not like cheesy.
The first half of it works more than the second half for me. Like the second half becomes like kind of like American action movie tropey, but like the first half I love. Like the meta element of it, that you say. Like just I just love their chemistry. Right. And then I think the second half, without spoiling anything, they don't have as many scenes together in the second half. And I think it kind of loses its charm because of that. But I love the first half.
Yeah, I agree. The ending's a little bit cheesy. But,
I mean,
but
it's a Nick Cage movie.
it's
It wouldn't
just
be.
like-
It
You've got
wouldn't
to
be
give
him
it to
if
them.
not.
Yeah.
It's the perfect film for like just like when you're having dinner on your knee and you're just like, I need
love
something
it.
nice
Oh,
to
lovely.
watch.
Yeah.
It's like
Order a takeaway.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
Sit on the
perfect.
couch and watch
It's
movie.
definitely, good vibes.
It requires
Okay.
no mental effort.
Well,
to
this
enjoy
bank
it.
holiday weekend, then maybe I'll watch that. Maybe I'll watch
Yeah.
that on Sunday.
Yeah.
And Succession. I assume you've been watching
I'm
Succession.
not up to date. I'm 2 weeks
How
behind,
many?
I think.
Okay, you need to catch up.
So what has just happened in the episode you've watched?
Spoiler.
what happens
Spoiler, yeah, massive spoiler.
What happens after the death episode?
Okay, you know that.
Okay, so you know he's dead. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
After that episode is
Two more.
There's
Two
two more
more.
episodes. Yeah,
Yeah, it's the Living Plus. Oh, no, that's the latest.
that's the
one.
latest one. Is the Living Plus episode, and then the one before that is. Have you seen when they go to Norway yet?
Oh yeah.
No.
You watched that one? Okay, so that'll be your next one
Okay.
then, probably.
I don't mind if you want to talk about it. It's fine.
No, we won't. Don't worry.
I mean, we were saying earlier that in a couple of weeks, end of May,
End of May
we
is
have the
the
finale,
finale.
and we need to do a final scene
Okay.
breakdown because I think I finally have a working theory for what's going to
I
happen.
have no idea where it's
Is it
going.
that Greg somehow becomes the CEO?
Dude, you would love the latest episode. In the next
Yeah.
episode, they basically do like a voice deep fake thing, and all I could think about watching it was like, "This is Simon would be loving this." as he's berating this editor to be like, "I need you to make him say this," and he's like, "I don't think I can do that." He's like, "What? Just like fucking do it. Just fucking make him say it."
What, Greg's doing that?
Yeah. Brilliant. So good.
Oh man, I can't wait.
It's so good. Yeah, so catch up and we can talk about theories
Yeah.
maybe in the next episode.
So how many are left?
4 left. So
Okay.
we've just had episode 6. So there'll be, I think it's 10 episodes in the season. I do wonder if they're going to do like an extra length final episode or what's it going to be.
Oh,
like.
like an hour and a half.
Oh,
Yeah.
that'd be sweet.
Do Game of Thrones where like the last 4 episodes are all 2 hours long or some shit.
Oh yeah.
Everything's just like a courtroom drama.
I'm sure the duration of the episodes has been revealed. So
Okay,
We should
yeah,
get ready.
yeah, we should check that out. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, you need to get up to date. So we need to chat.
Noted.
cool.
Yo, pick up the phone.
We just got a ping from the burner phone.
There's a significant amount of explosive in the trash receptacle next to you.
Hello, Sophie, Ben, and Simon. This is Wyatt, longtime listener, first-time commenter. I have a hot take. I think Whiplash, the Damien Chazelle movie, I don't know if you pronounce his last name, I don't think it's very good. I think it's terrible. If anything, it's a super weak film from him. I haven't seen Babylon, but La La Land is one of my favorites. It's so good, so crisp, so clean. The soundtrack's phenomenal. The acting I thought was good. The directing was good. I just think that Whiplash is a terrible movie. I think Miles Teller did a really good job. I think the performances are really good. I just overall found the story just really unmoving. There was a couple good lines here and there, but I feel like he just gets over-nominated for that work, where I feel like a lot of it should be directed to La La Land, but that's just me.
I always thought that Whiplash is a strange film because the message is weird. J.K. Simmons is a huge bully, and it kind of almost celebrates
It does.
bullying someone into being brilliant. And that's kind of like the message that lands at the end of the film. And I never thought that was very good, really. The film's gripping because it's so
I'm inclined
intense,
to agree with some of the points you made.
Yeah.
But I actually don't agree with the Miles Teller point. I think J.K. Simmons is fantastic in it. I don't think Miles Teller is great now. I think there are probably 10 other actors that you could put in that part that would do the same, if not a better job.
Right. I don't think he's a good actor.
I think it's a very like generic, I must, like half the film is him just crying like that. Like, oh God. Like,
yeah.
Off, Jesus.
I do think he's probably his best role though, even though that's not a very high bar.
Nah, Rooster's his best role. It's because he's just not in it that much and half the time he's flying planes.
What did you think about the story? Because I think
I agree with Sai.
Yeah.
It's a very kind of conflicting thing because he throws, and Miles Teller's character just throws his entire life away for this, being bullied by this person and wanting he doesn't get like hit by a car. He's in a car accident and everything. He still goes for it and does all these things purely for, the praise of this well-esteemed teacher from Juilliard or whatever it is.
Yeah, to earn his respect.
Yeah.
He has to go through all this hardship.
Yeah. And actually, like, and do you know what? Maybe the hard thing about it is maybe that is the reality of it. Maybe like what you want from that movie is for him to be like, to take his life into his own hands and say, fuck you, I'm going to do what I want. I'm an amazing drummer anyway. But maybe the reality of it is that happens sometimes. I think you do, but it's a weird thing to try and celebrate that.
Yeah, it definitely was celebrated.
Like, it feels like there should be consequence rather than the movie ends with this amazing fucking performance and like J.K. Simmons smiling and that kind of thing. There should almost be something else. But
yeah, I think a director like Kubrick would have added a layer of irony somewhere. That
Kubrick would have had him pull a gun at the end of Gunso and shoot J.K. like at the end of Joker when he shoots De Niro.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
give it to Todd Phillips.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. I think the movie is brilliant technically. Like, I love what they do with sound, with editing. I think it's brilliant. And for a director who was probably 26 at the time or something like that, and he was probably second film at the time or even first one, because he did it in parallel with La La Land. Just an incredible feat. But I agree with you. The message isn't something that I resonated with, even though like we say that, and I feel like we're gonna get a lot of pushback because this film has a lot of fanatics out there, and I feel like because I've spoken about that on my page and how like it celebrates and the toxicity that comes with someone being so obsessive.
Yeah.
And I remember getting a lot of comments being like, "Oh, you don't get the film." Like,
get about that?
I think I got a bunch of comments from people that are very much into hustle culture, as in work hard, as in if you don't sweat to death, you're going to. Which is, I mean, yeah, a fair point, but I don't subscribe to that mindset.
I mean, I would disagree with that. I think I'd consider myself somebody who works quite hard and like.
Yeah, but you don't work hard for the sake of working hard.
No, exactly. Yeah, I'm boundaried because I understand. I want to be like happy in my life.
Yeah.
That's going to piss people off that I've said that, but it's true. But.
Yeah,
I don't know, but I agree with that though. Like technically, and it looks nice. Like it's it's very arty. Yeah, and all of Chazelle's films are like La La Land's the same, like really colorful and Babylon. Jazzy. I haven't seen it, even though, to be honest, I don't really want to see it. But it kind of looked fantastic. Like it looked kind of like almost like bit of a weird term, but like Baz Luhrmann kind of esque. Like it's almost like it's like jazzy Baz Luhrmann, Chazelle's films, and that like it's kind of the bombastic, colorful, big nature, but like it's like bringing a little bit more like a sophistication, or Baz Luhrmann with a different color palette, maybe.
For me, it shows you can still enjoy a film that you don't agree with the message.
Yeah, that's a great point.
That said, I haven't revisited the film in
I would rewatch it.
I would rewatch it. Yeah, maybe we should
do that for Right.
I remember feeling really drained at the end of my first viewing. I was really tired.
It's a very Uncut Gems sort of vibes. Yeah,
it's like anxiety inducing. Yeah, especially that end. It almost feels like you're kind of it feels like you're watching a heist almost. Like it's like ticking towards this explosive ending where something's going to go horribly wrong, and you're just kind of like almost gripping your seat, like. Shit, what's going to happen next?
Something tells me, though, that the people that love Whiplash hate La La Land.
Yes, I would agree with that. Yeah, they're very different films.
Very different mindsets. And like in terms of like from a thematic and message standpoint, very, very different. Anyway, that's just my assumption, but I could be convinced otherwise.
Do you hate La La Land?
No, I love it.
So you like them both?
Yeah, La La Land I love throughout. Whiplash, I don't hate it. But
you've got it on your poster on the wall.
Yeah, I admire it. That's the thing. Like, I just think it's brilliant technically, but I don't agree with what it has to say, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But as a filmmaking, outstanding achievement. So moving on to another request/question from someone from our audience who responded to my Airplane review. So I was Airplane a few weeks ago. Have you seen you've seen Airplane?
What,
Simon,
from
right?
like years
from
ago? Don't Call Me Shirley.
Yeah. So
Surely you can't be serious. I am serious. And Don't Call Me Shirley.
So I watched it a few weeks ago and they responded by saying, right, you know I love and respect all you guys. I would be really interested in your takes on current cancel culture, especially as far as films like this are concerned. Like, are they of your time and we have to roll our eyes and go, oh, those days? Or do we have a responsibility to say this isn't okay? I was at Breakfast Club a while back and some of the stuff in that made me genuinely uncomfortable. Again, not looking to start a row, just would be interested in the gang's views. Difficult question. Good question.
Yeah, really good question.
I can go first because I had a very similar, I had the same question while I was watching the film in particular. And I was telling Ben earlier that, of course, there are plenty of sexist and racist and ableist jokes in that film. And maybe that's a coincidence and for that film in particular, but I actually find them the least funny. And not because they were offensive, but just because I don't think they were that good. I did feel like the best jokes were the ones that were more creative and universally appealing, but that's just on Airplane. Going back to the cancel culture question, I do think it's very important to acknowledge our history culturally, because to erase it means we don't recognize the progress. So I think it's still fair to watch something from back in the day and be like, that wasn't okay. But unless if we erase our history, then how do we know we made any progress and we're better, from 20 and 30 years ago? And how can we, from 30 years from now, recognize that we're doing even better, right? So I don't think censoring something or like any form of art is helpful, but I do think it's very important to acknowledge the mishaps and shortcomings of artists and consume as you will, but maybe don't distribute that work, especially if it's if it ends up hurting people that there's not going to be any benefit for that.
The main thing is that you're watching it and talking about it, and it's like the discourse is the important thing. And
I don't think saying it's of his time is an excuse. Like, you can't use that as it's of its time. It's not that's not a thing.
Well, I would say that you have to judge all art in the context of the time it was created in.
You can judge it in the context it was created in, but you still have to then recognize that might not be okay. You can't wear rose tinted glasses and say, well, it's of its time and blah 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 blah. You have to say, you have to be able to look at it kind of objectively and say, well, no, that's not an okay.
I also think it's very important to use this art, whether it's a film or whether it's a painting, as an exercise for yourself. For example, if you laughed at a joke that was overly sexist or was overly homophobic, then you can check in with yourself and be like, why did that make me laugh? Can I just almost like it's an exercise, as in checking with your own bias and be like, I can learn from this in a way. Or why did this make me, cringe? What was the feeling behind the feeling? So I think that's also important, because ultimately, as people, we learn from contrast. This is bad, therefore this is good. So we need to have both sides in order to move forward and even educate younger people. We need to be able to show them what went wrong along the way.
Yeah, it's part of our history. It's like viewing history through the prism of cinema is dead interesting, and it's a cultural history, isn't it? And it's films that could almost be considered quite offensive now might become funny again in the future as we've moved on again, and we're we have a different way of looking back at it. You never know what's going to happen. Exactly. Just like some words go from being really, really offensive in some periods to then meaning having completely different meaning 25 years later. Like lots of racist words, lots of homophobic words, like have had completely different meanings through the last 10, 20, 30 years. So you never know what's going to happen.
No. Cool. We will take a short break and we'll be back with the Grand Budapest Hotel.
Oh, look, a message from our sponsor.
G.I. Jane 2. Can't wait to see it. Nah, yo, hold my poodle. Hey, yo, what's up? Y'all got a problem? Y'all want some of this?
Without much further ado, here we go again.
Right, and we are back for our final scene. The final scene of Wes Anderson's 2014 film, The Grand Budapest Hotel. Shall we kick off with the plot? I've got a real short one from IMDb.
Go for it.
Okay. A writer encounters the owner of an aging high-class hotel in the fictional country of Zubroka, the Grand Budapest Hotel, who tells him of his early years serving as a lobby boy in the hotel's glorious years under an exceptional concierge. So the central character is the hotel's owner, Zero Mustafa. Tony Revolori plays him as a young adult, and then F. Murray Abraham when he's reaching his elder years. The decline of the hotel from Zero's youth to the present is linked with the deteriorating state of society. I think with this film, in order to talk about its ending, we need to talk about its opening scene because it acts as a bookend in a way from beginning to end. So, as you said, Ben, like the Grand Budapest Hotel is basically a story within a story within a story.
Yeah.
It's like a cake.
Yes.
A glass onion, if you will.
Oh, no.
No, don't do that, Simon. Don't you dare. Don't you dare compare these films.
So it has 3 framing devices, each one leading into the next. In the present, a young woman visits the grave of an acclaimed author. Do we ever get his name? I don't know.
No, he's just referred to as young author and old author in the plot. Yeah.
Observing his shrine of a grave marker, she reads one of his works, The Grand Budapest Hotel. Then to visualize what the girl is reading, we see the author, played by Tom Wilkinson, writing the book in 1985. He speaks his words aloud from behind the desk, and as the author tells it in 1968, his younger self, Jude Law, visited the eponymous hotel and met the aged Zero. Zero tells the author the tale of how he acquired the hotel over dinner, and the deepest layer of the flashbacks take place in 1932 when the hotel was at its prime.
So that's 4 layers of it?
4-ish.
So girl, old author, young author, and Zero, young Zero.
It's basically Inception.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
we're in the 4th layer where DiCaprio and Marianne Cotillard are hanging around somewhere in that hotel.
Honestly.
Sitting on a train track.
What wasn't clear to me is whether the girl who reads the book is at the same timeline with the older author.
No, because I think that's a statue to the author.
Oh yeah.
I think that's a statue of the author. Like it's a memorial to him.
Yes, it's
and she's holding the book. She's holding the book by the statue.
Why so many layers?
Well, I do genuinely wonder, is it just knowing Wes Anderson and all the different kind of tones and storylines that run through his films, is it literally being like, I'm just going to layer this movie like one of the cakes in the film? Because it could be,
Yeah.
Who wrote it?
I think he wrote it. Yeah, I think
it's entirely his idea.
I think it's original screenplay.
That's Wes Anderson.
It's pretty mad.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Yeah,
and I think because the thing is, the girl at the statue is almost completely pointless unless I've missed something, and I'm very happy to be educated on it. Unless I've missed something,
that's good of
you. But like, we don't know who she is. We don't get any backstory to her. It's just a girl looking at a statue. Then we go flashback. Then we go flashback. Then we go flashback again, and then you're finally in the film. And then that brings you forward.
I agree. I don't think the girl is significant. I think she probably represents either the audience, it could be us, and how we, experience the story from 1932. I think it could be the youth, like the next generation, because she's a young woman. So I don't think she is significant, but it definitely represents something out there from the perspective of the reader or the viewer. It's interesting because I think the layers probably kind of represent not just depicting Zero's story, but showing how they survived over the years. And have you guys seen the French Dispatch? The latest. Okay, because it is about a newsroom and about like a journalist who eventually died. I think that's the premise of the story. And then the story is about like vignettes from like the best stories that survived through the journalist. So I feel like this goes back to the same point where like Anderson is obsessed with the idea of surviving stories and passing down like a specific
longevity.
Yeah. And how it's important to preserve that and not let it like go to waste.
Living on through your art as well.
Yeah.
Like, Wes Anderson living on through his films.
I think that's his most autobiographical film, but like in a very meta way. Not that he was alive in 1932. No, it's not like a.
Well, yeah. No, I know what you mean. He's kind of he's trying to portray how he wants his work to carry on. I guess maybe.
Mm-hmm. Because I really love that scene in the end, right before we see the girl again, where Jude Law has that conversation with F. Murray by the elevator. Do you remember that scene? Like before when they say goodbye.
He asks about his wife's. Isn't it his wife's death? Is that what he's talking about?
Yeah. I mean, the last words from the author is it really was an enchanting old ruin, but I never managed to see it again, which I found very moving.
I quite like towards the end as well, is that all his saddest memories are all in black and white. Mm-hmm. Something I noticed after the second time watching it around is that the film is so colourful, but his saddest memories of his wife's death, or talking about his wife's death and talking about Mr. Gustave's death, are in black and white, which is something I only picked up in the end. I was like, oh, all the colour's gone out of it. I did, because it's such a colourful film, and then it's all like, now that I feel like I watch films and try and actually like digest them a bit more than I did when I first saw that film.
Yeah. Well, just sat on the remote and put it in black and white.
Oh God, yeah, switch it into black and white mode again. Yeah.
I think does Anderson do that with aspect ratios as well?
Maybe.
Like
he likes square, doesn't he? He likes symmetry and squares.
Yeah.
Doesn't the film start off as a square and then it opens up into a
he does that.
Screen,
yeah. Which reminded me of Mummy. You remember that scene?
Oh, but that's because they're going for the home movie retro vibe.
Yeah.
But also the happy one, in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The happiest scene in that film is full screen, yeah.
I don't know. There just has so much to say. I feel we can... I would love to double click on these two scenes, like the first one about the girl and why, like, what was the meaning behind starting with that scene as well? Like, was it to perhaps give us some sort of
footing?
Yeah, footing, or like ground us in a way that we're about to enter a fairy tale story. Because I did some research on like the film. I actually listened to a couple of podcast episodes for that film because if I'm honest, like I kind of struggle with like understanding it, on a deeper level.
Same. Like, I feel like I'm not even qualified to join in this chat. Really, like it's
cool. Just talking to myself.
I didn't experience so much depth in it. I think it was probably a lot of it went over my head. And it didn't draw me in to want to understand the layers.
How do you find Wes Anderson in general?
I mean, Rushmore is one of my favorite films. Like, I love it. I love the soundtrack. I love the way it makes me feel when I rewatch it. It's very, very nostalgic. I love The Life Aquatic. Mm-hmm. I find him quite hit and miss. Like, I really didn't enjoy The Royal Tenenbaums. My friends went mad for it, and I did not find it funny in the slightest.
I do think, well, again, you're right. Like, he's a difficult one because for me, for the most part, I find that he's very much like a style over substance kind of director.
That's literally what I was going to say. That for this film, it's style over substance.
For me, it's the other way around. For me, that is his most like value, like emotion packed. Like I found it so moving on so many levels. Probably the first Wes Anderson film that I've seen that the style serves the actual storytelling.
What?
Yeah, and like think about it this way. So as Ben said, the 1932 storyline is so colorful, very zazzy. Like the aesthetics are incredible, like Instagram, feed goals basically. And I think it's because the nostalgia speaks there. Because I think this is why the opening scene is very important, because it tells us that we are not watching the literal representation of Europe in 1932. We are watching the version of a man who was once told by an old man as he remembered his own youth through the lens of an author, and how the girl interpreted the the words in the book, which is why it's so colorful and like, soapy in a way. And then we move to the actual, potentially like even the 1985 storyline, which gets more not black and white but more what's the word, monochrome.
We don't get much of Tom Wilkinson.
Gets desaturated.
Yeah. That reflects Zero's mood at the time, who's still very depressed over Agatha and his almost like, I think he had a child with her, didn't he? Yeah.
He had a son, I think.
He's still grieving. He's grieving over his wife and his child and Gustav. So we get that more, saturated way of visual storytelling. So for me, this is the first time where I'm like, oh, actually, Wes Anderson's, color palette has an actual point.
It's a function.
Yeah.
It has a function. You're right. That's a word.
Yeah, it's not just. I think because Grand Budapest is so big and so bright, everyone almost assumes that that's like Wes Anderson, big, huge, and brilliant and bright and everything. But actually, he definitely does it in other films. But this one, it serves more of a purpose to kind of, as you say, show his moods through the years and through the film, and give you more of an insight into Zero's character, and like when he was at his happiest, everything is bright, and and he's still living in his tiny little room and all that kind of stuff. And
I think I need to now rewatch this film, given the points that you've made, and I'd probably get a lot more out of it.
I think so, because for me it was important to anchor the entire film through the conversation of Jude Law and F. Murray, probably, because this is what's depicted in the actual book, which we never get to read, but that's what the girl reads. So I'm assuming by reflecting what older Zero said at the time, it kind of shows the present, the past. And you can tell through the script how excited and how fond he was of the past, even though it didn't last for a very long time. I remember he said for Agatha, oh yeah, we had some great few years for a while. It didn't last long. I think she died 2 years later.
Yeah, she died very young. Yeah, they were only married for a short period of time.
Yeah, so in his head, everything it's the rose-colored glasses analogy. I think so. Anyway, so for me that was interesting. But I mean, I'm not a huge Wes Anderson fan from a storytelling point of view.
What is this your favorite Wes Anderson film that you've seen? Have you seen them all?
No, I'm a really big fan of Fantastic Mr. Fox as well. I think that's brilliant. Yeah. Also has something to say, and I think that's my issue with Anderson. Dancing Limited, an obnoxious film about 3 obnoxious people.
Quite like that one.
I just think they're all horrible.
Some of but my when I think of Wes Anderson, Wes, as I like to call him, because we're mates,
Big W.
I just thought when I was growing up and as a teenager and I was watching them, I just thought he was just quite mad. He was just quite out there.
Yeah, he is.
Life Aquatic is quite a ridiculous, nutty film, really. And I just quite like it for that.
Well, he's an outlier. That's for true. He's kind of auteur. There's very much there is. He doesn't make blockbuster movies. There is he has his style and he sticks to it. He's kind of like Tim Burton.
I would have said it was quirky.
Yeah,
back in the day, I would have said that.
Yeah,
he's it doesn't really do it justice, but
you don't get many filmmakers like that, and unfortunately, from the way cinema studios work now, you don't because he's built his reputation 10, 15 years ago. He's still there and he's still able to make his films. Obviously, what's the new one coming out in June? Moon City or
Asteroid City.
Asteroid City, yeah. Still looks his color palette and looks weird. But it's harder to make those. It's harder to almost be an auteur cinema maker, a filmmaker now.
Of course. I give him a lot of credit for being authentic and sticking to his vision. The main criticism that he tends to get, which I subscribe to and agree, is that a lot of his characters aren't emotionally you can't connect with them emotionally. It's very hard. They're quite one-dimensional. A lot of them.
When I think of Bill Murray in Rushmore, he's sort of so emotionally stunted. It's really like disconcerting.
Yeah.
But I would really look if you were like, oh, we're watching Rushmore tonight, I'd be really excited.
Yeah.
I'd really look forward to it.
But I would say the same for Grand Budapest. I don't really think you can connect with any of the characters because it is such a heightened sense of reality.
Often quite cold, aren't they, the characters?
Well, yeah, I mean,
I thought Zero was exceptional. Like the younger version was very sweet, and I could feel.
He's
for
very
him.
sweet, yeah. But I mean, you don't like. It's kind of hard to feel like a connection to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know.
He's
why
very much a character in a story.
I don't know why I connect to the refugee aspect of it, and then him finding love with Saoirse Ronan's character. I thought that was very sweet. But again, I can see how some people didn't connect with that. Definitely, and that just glimpses of. And then Fiennes and the idea of him, like his entire purpose in the world being serving older ladies.
Serving what?
Older ladies.
Like Tilda Swinton.
And to be honest, like serving anyone, staying at the hotel, but his moral and ethical compass surrounding that. I thought it was quite deep. While the Royal Tenenbaums.
Yes.
It's just all of them were just.
I just didn't get it.
I think I got it, but I thought it was very superficial in terms of the character development. So I don't know. I love Grand Budapest Hotel. I love the opening and the ending. I thought the book ending was very sweet with a girl, and I think that because of that like ending, it kind of reflects Wes Anderson, and it's the ultimate like Wes Anderson meta film. I don't think that that the opening and ending could have worked if Wes Anderson wasn't Wes Anderson at the time.
Yeah,
I think he was confident enough as an author, director, however you want to call it, to be able to make that meta reference, and I thought it was very effective.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because it's kind of like, the way people say it's like, oh, it's a film for filmmakers kind of thing.
Right.
It's like a film for storytellers more so than a film for filmmakers. It's like
historians, preserving,
and just like word of mouth kind of storytelling, even though it's a visual medium. The whole film is about word of mouth and writing stories down and keeping these things alive. And Zero's whole thing is he's just keeping the hotel alive. That's kind of it.
Yeah.
Like what happens to the Grand Budapest after he's gone? Who does it get past to? Who has the passion for it? Where does it go? And actually, is it just telling the stories about the hotel that kind of keep it going and keep?
Did you guys end up caring about the hotel though? By the end, did you emotionally like want it to survive?
No, I think it's a vessel. I didn't really care that much for the hotel. I think it looks fantastic and it's a vessel for the film. But like, I don't. In the way that like other films, like inanimate things can be a character in themselves. I didn't feel it that much because you don't spend that much time in the hotel. Like a big chunk of the film is him being in prison and like getting out of that. So, it's in other places or him going to Tilda Swinton's family and, all that kind of stuff.
I didn't feel for anything for the hotel up until the very end where Zero said that he still keeps it solely for Agatha. And because the hotel preserves their good memories because they were happy for a while. So that was very cute. Like it wasn't about Gustavo.
I think the hotel's almost like memory in general in that it deteriorates over time and that's why the carpets look a bit frayed and a bit weird.
Now that's profound, Ben.
It's a great point.
What can I say? I love profundity. Is that the word? Profundity?
Yeah.
Or dramaturgically, I just like to say profound things. Sorry, I had to throw that in.
Yeah.
Dramaturgically.
Have you not seen the clip of the guy from Succession? Oh my God. He says, they interviewed him about something and he just goes, dramaturgically, I thought it made sense.
My favourite so far is pre-grieve. Pre-grieve.
That's so good.
Yeah.
But that's a great point, Ben. And you know what? Like that reminds me, how in the beginning of the film when Jude Law and F. Murray have a conversation about like, how they met and like how they, they're starting the interview. And Jude Law finds out that F. Murray still sleeps at the tiny
lobby room, yeah.
And when he said that, I was like, oh, fuck off. Like I was like one of these pretentious like owners who sleep at the, tiny room to make a point about capitalism. But then in the end, I realized that it was because probably this was the first time they had sex in that room. Well, they had all these great memories. That was a happy room.
It's his happiest memories of that life are in that room.
With Agatha, yeah.
Well, yeah. Or just in his life in general. Like he was at his happiest when because isn't the whole thing that like he barely sleeps, like they talk about like the work routines and like you finish work at 11 and you wake up at 3 for group breakfast or whatever it is. Like very little time spent in that room.
Put the grapefruit segments up.
But yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. I think we solved the ending again.
I think so.
And Simon, let us know if you end up rewatching it.
Yeah, I will do.
We can revisit.
Yeah. Cool. Anything you want to add something?
I was going to say it's like Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. I'm on like my 15th rewatch. And like, and every time someone like teaches me something new about it, I'm like, oh, I'm getting it a bit more now.
I love that.
So he was...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. So if the Grand Budapest Hotel is your favorite Wes Anderson film, then please make sure you share this podcast on your stories or the group chat. Give us a shout, tag us. We'd love to share your post. Send us your hot takes. Give us recommendations for final scenes. Come join the community. We're back to our original programming, so we'll see you in a couple of weeks with our 1-year anniversary episode. See you soon. Bye.
Did you like it? Did you like that?
Did I like it? I loved it.
I had no idea you could milk a cat.
I have nipples, Greg. Could you milk me?
Good morning.
Morning. Good morning.
Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.